My name is Natalie, and on my 34th birthday, everything changed. I had spent months saving for the perfect designer dress, excited to celebrate at Chicago's most exclusive restaurant. When my niece Sophia deliberately threw her cranberry cocktail across the table, the red liquid spreading across my cream silk like blood time seemed to stop. "Now you look as cheap as you really are," she smirked, 17 and full of venom. My mother patted her hand approvingly. I just smiled, but inside something finally broke. If you are watching this, please drop a like and subscribe, and let me know where you are from in the comments. You will not believe what happened next. I have always been the responsible one in my family. While my sister Vanessa bounced between jobs and apartments in our hometown, I moved to Chicago and built a career in marketing. Through talent and countless late nights, I climbed from entry-level coordinator to executive director at one of the largest firms in the Midwest. My apartment overlooking Lake Michigan was a testament to those sacrifices, as was my carefully curated wardrobe and the luxury car I had purchased after my last promotion. Vanessa, 3 years older than me, had taken a different path. She got pregnant with Sophia at 20, dropped out of community college, and cycled through a series of boyfriends and minimum wage jobs. I never judged her choices, but I did become the family safety net. "Nat, the landlord is threatening eviction. Could you help just this one time?" became a monthly call. My car broke down again. "Sophia needs to get to her dance recital. Can you wire some money?" The emergency credit card I added Vanessa 2 years ago was meant for genuine crisis. Instead, it became her supplement for designer purses, weekend getaways, and restaurant meals she could never afford. Every month, I paid the bill without complaint. Family helps family, right? When Sophia turned 16 and needed a car for school, I bought her one. Not just any car, but a safe, reliable sedan that I transferred into my name for insurance purposes. "You can use it until you graduate," I told her, watching her expressions sour at the word use rather than have. My mother, Patricia, enabled this dynamic my entire life. From childhood piano recital, where my perfect performance received a distracted nice job, while Vanessa's mistake-filled attempt earned standing ovations for trying her best, the pattern was established early. When I received scholarships to college, Mom said I was lucky. When I landed my first marketing job, she wondered aloud if I really had time for a career. The pattern continued into adulthood. My promotions were met with, "I hope you are not working too hard, sweetheart." My financial achievements were diminished. "With money is not everything, Natalie." Meanwhile, Vanessa was doing her best, and has such a big heart despite her repeated financial disasters. Last month, I received another promotion to Executive Vice President of Client Relations. The salary increase was substantial. When I called to share the news, my mother said, "That is wonderful, honey. Did I tell you Vanessa is thinking about taking some online classes? She is so brave." That night, Vanessa called to congratulate me. "Must be nice," she said. "Some of us have real responsibilities, not just fancy offices." I could hear Sophia in the background making gagging noises. Despite everything, I loved them. They were my family, and I believed that one day they would see me really see me and be proud. That belief sustained me through missed birthdays, backhanded compliments, and financial exploitation. When my birthday approached, I decided this year would be different. I would host a celebration at a line Chicago's most prestigious restaurant. I would wear something spectacular. I would invite my closest friends and my family, perhaps surrounded by the life I had built. They would finally understand my value. Looking back, I realized how desperately I was still seeking their approval. Success, I thought, would finally make them love me the way I had always loved them. I did not understand then that some people are determined to misunderstand you, especially when your achievements highlight their failures. Planning my birthday celebration became a project I threw myself into with characteristic precision. Elania required reservations 3 months in advance, and I set a calendar reminder to call the moment their booking system opened. When I secured the private dining room for 8 people on my exact birthday, it felt like a sign that this celebration would finally be different. The dress was next. I wanted something special, something that represented who I had become. I spent 4 weekends visiting boutiques before finding it a cream-colored Stella McCartney silk sheath that fell just below my knees with subtle crystal beading along the neckline. At $3,000, it cost more than I had ever spent on a single item of clothing, but when I tried it on, I knew it was perfect. The saleswoman smiled as I twirled in front of the mirror. "Special occasion?" she asked, carefully folding the dress into tissue paper. "My birthday," I replied. "I am having dinner at Elania." "How lovely. Your husband must be very proud." I shook my head. "No husband, just me celebrating me." She nodded approvingly. Even better, invitations went out 6 weeks before the date. My closest friends responded immediately. Kate from college, now a pediatrician, Jasmine from work, Daniel and his husband Ryan, who lived in my building, all replied with enthusiastic acceptances and offers to help plan. Inviting my family was more complicated. I called my mother first. A Thursday night, she said, sounding put out. "That is a long drive into the city on a weeknight, Natalie." "I know, Mom. I can send a car service for you if that helps." "We will see. I will have to check with Vanessa. Sophia might have dance practice." I swallowed my disappointment. "It is at Alinea. The reservation was hard to get. I would really love it if you could come." "We will try," she said. A promise I knew meant little. Vanessa's response was equally lukewarm. "Alinea is not that place super expensive." "It is my treat," I assured her. "For everyone. Sophia will need something to wear. She cannot just show up in jeans to a fancy place like that." I closed my eyes, counted to 5. "I can send you some money for a new outfit for her if that helps." "That would be the least you could do," Vanessa said, as if I was imposing by inviting them to $1,000 dinner. "And we might be a little late. Sophia has dance until 6. The morning of my birthday, I woke up early. I had scheduled a full day of pampering, massage, facial hair, and makeup. As I sipped my morning coffee, I allowed myself to hope. Tonight would be different. Tonight, surrounded by the trappings of my success, my family would see me clearly for the first time. They would be proud. They would understand the hard work behind the luck they had always attributed to me. By 6 and I was ready. The dress fit perfectly. My hair fell in soft waves, and my makeup enhanced without overwhelming. I looked exactly as I had hoped. Successful, confident, worthy of celebration. The restaurant staff greeted me by name when I arrived. "Happy birthday, Miss Wells. Your private room is ready, and we have the champagne chilling as requested." My friends arrived promptly at 6:30, bearing beautifully wrapped gifts and genuine smiles. Kate hugged me tightly, whispering, "You look absolutely stunning." By 7:15, we were seated at the table with no sign of my family. I checked my phone repeatedly as the first course arrived. "Should we wait?" Jasmine asked gently. I shook my head. "No, let us start. They will join when they get here." At 7:45, just as the second course was being served, my family finally arrived. My mother entered first, wearing the same dress she wore to every semi-formal occasion. Vanessa followed, looking irritated. Sophia trailed behind them already on her phone, wearing a crop top and mini kirter that was wildly inappropriate for the venue. "Sorry, we are late," my mother said, not sounding sorry at all. Thick, terrible. The staff smoothly reset their places and brought their first courses while we continued with our meal. The initial conversation was stilted. My friends tried to include my family, asking polite questions about their lives, but received minimal responses. "So Sophia," Natalie tells us. "You are quite the dancer," Daniel said kindly. Sophia shrugged without looking up from her phone. "I guess she is extremely talented," my mother interjected. "Her teacher says she could go professional." Vanessa nodded proudly. "She just needs better training. The studio in our town is so basic." I recognize the opening. If Sophia is serious about dance, I could help look into summer intensives in Chicago. They have excellent programs. We cannot all afford to live in luxury high-rises. Natalie Vanessa snapped. "Some of us have to make do with what we have." The table fell silent. Ryan caught my eye and raised an eyebrow slightly. I gave a small shake of my head. Not now. As the evening progressed, the contrast between my friends and family became increasingly apparent. My friends asked thoughtful questions, shared stories that highlighted my better qualities, and generally created an atmosphere of celebration. My family sat stiffly, contributing little except the occasional cutting remark. When it came time for toasts, Kate raised her glass first. To Natalie, who has been my rock for 15 years. "Your kindness is matched only by your determination. I am so proud to call you my friend." Others followed with similar sentiments. When it came to my family's turn, my mother simply said, "Happy birthday, sweetheart." 34 already. Time flies. Vanessa lifted her glass reluctantly to my little sister, always reaching for the stars, while the rest of us stay on the ground. Sophia did not bother to toast at all, too busy texting under the table. The gift-opening segment was equally painful. Kate and Jasmine had gone in together on a beautiful leather portfolio embossed with my initials. Daniel and Ryan gave me a weekend spa package at a resort in Michigan. Each gift was thoughtful, personal, and accompanied by a heartfelt card. When I opened Vanessa's gift, I tried to keep my expression neutral. It was a scented candle from a discount store still in the clearance bag, with the $10 price tag attached. The card, clearly grabbed from a gas station display, simply read, "Happy birthday, sis," with their names scrolled at the bottom. "Thank you," I said, placing it carefully with the other gifts. "This is lovely. We cannot all afford fancy presents," Vanessa said defensively. "Some of us have real expenses." The dessert course arrived in elaborate construction of chocolate and edible flowers, with "Happy Birthday, Natalie" written in gold leaf across the plate. As the waiter described the components, I noticed Sophia's expression darken. She had been sullen all evening, but now there was something else in her eyes, something calculating. The dessert presentation was a work of art, complete with a sparkler that drew attention from nearby tables. As everyone admired it, I felt a momentary flash of pride. This was my life, the one I had built from nothing. For just a second, I allowed myself to enjoy it without apology. That was when I noticed Sophia whispering to Vanessa, who smirked and whispered something back. My mother leaned in to join their private conversation, all three glancing at me with expressions that made my stomach tighten. "Everything okay?" I asked lightly. "Just fine," my mother replied. Sophia was saying how fancy everything is. I turned to my niece, offering an olive branch. "I am glad you could come, Sophia. I know week and night events are hard with your schedule." Sophia looked directly at me for the first time that evening. "Yeah, whatever. Must be nice to waste money like this when there are people starving," Vanessa said in a tone that contained no actual reprimand. "Be nice. It is your aunt's birthday." My friends exchanged uncomfortable glances. Daniel cleared his throat. "So Natalie was telling us, you might be looking at colleges soon, Sophia. Any thoughts on what you might want to study?" Sophia rolled her eyes. "Not everyone gets to go to college. Some of us have to work for a living." "Actually," I interjected carefully, "I have been putting aside some money for your education. There are some excellent dance programs that offer scholarships too." The table fell silent. This was news to everyone, including Vanessa, who looked suddenly confused. "What do you mean you have been putting aside money?" she asked. "A college fund?" I explained. "I started it when Sophia was born. It is not huge, but it should cover community college at minimum, possibly more with scholarships." My mother frowned. "You never mentioned this before." I wanted it to be a surprise when the time was right. And now that Sophia is starting to think about her future, it seemed like a good moment to bring it up. Instead of gratitude, I watched as three faces hardened simultaneously. My mother pursed her lips. Vanessa's eyes narrowed, and Sophia, looking more angry than ever, gripped her water glass so tightly her knuckles widened. "So, you have just been sitting on a pile of money all this time while we struggled." Vanessa's voice had the dangerous edge I recognized from childhood arguments while I worked double shifts, while Mom had to reorganize her house to help me with rent. "That is not what I said." I began feeling the evening slipping away from me. "I specifically set it aside for Sophia's education. It is in a trust. Always the savior." Vanessa sneered, always making the rest of us look bad. My friends were now openly uncomfortable. Kate placed a hand on my arm supportively but said nothing. What could she say? This was family dirty laundry being aired in the worst possible setting. "Let us just enjoy dessert," I suggested, attempting to salvage the celebration. "We can discuss the college fund another time." "No, let us discuss it now." Sophia suddenly spoke up. "I do not need your charity. I do not need anything from you." "Sophia, honey," my mother tried to intervene. "Your aunt is just trying to help. She is trying to control everything like she always does." Sophia shot back, walking around like she is better than everyone because she has money, acting like we should be grateful that she throws us her scraps. The restaurant seemed to go quiet around us, though I knew it was just my focus, narrowing to this horrible moment. The beautiful evening I had planned for months was disintegrating before my eyes. "That is not true," I said quietly. "I love you. I want to help because you are my niece, and I care about your future." Sophia stood up abruptly, grabbing her nearly full glass of cranberry cocktail, a non-alcoholic version the restaurant had prepared especially for her. "You want to know what I think of your help," she said, voice rising. "You want to know what I think of your fancy dress and your fancy restaurant and your fancy life?" Before anyone could react, she tossed the contents of her glass directly at me. The cold liquid hit my chest and face immediately, soaking into the cream silk of my $3,000 dress. Red rivulets ran down the fabric, staining it irreparably. In the shocked silence that followed, Sophia delivered the final blow. "Now you look as cheap as you really are," my friends gasped. Daniel half rose from his chair, but I put my hand up to stop him. The restaurant had definitely gone quiet now. Every table aware of the drama unfolding in our corner. I expected my mother to scold Sophia, to apologize profusely, to do something to acknowledge the cruelty of what had just happened. Instead, she patted Sophia's hand. "I think we should go," she said, standing up. "Natalie, this was all a bit much. You know how teenagers can be when they feel uncomfortable." Vanessa was already grabbing her purse. "We told you this place was too fancy. You should have done something simple if you wanted us to come." I sat, frozen red liquid dripping from my ruined dress onto the white tablecloth. I could feel eyes on me from every direction. The staff hovered uncertainly nearby, unsure how to proceed. "It is fine," I heard myself say, voice steady despite everything. "Thank you for coming." As they walked out, leaving me humiliated in front of my friends and a restaurant full of strangers, I maintained my composure. I dabbed at my dress with a napkin, knowing it was futile. I smiled at my concerned friends. "Well," I said, "I guess the party's ending early." Kate immediately moved to the chair beside me, putting her arm around my shoulders. "Natalie, I am so sorry. That was unacceptable." Jasmine was already talking to the waiter, arranging for our bill to be settled and our remaining desserts to be packed up. Daniel and Ryan flanked me protectively as we made our way out of the restaurant, my ruined dress drawing sympathetic glances from other diners. In the privacy of my apartment, surrounded only by my true friends, I finally allowed myself to cry. The dress was destroyed. The evening was ruined. But more importantly, the fantasy I had clung to for years, that my family might someday see and appreciate me, had been shattered beyond repair. As my friends offered comfort and outrage on my behalf, something hardened inside me. Years of financial support, emotional labor, and desperate attempts to win love had led to this moment of public humiliation. Something had to change. After my friends left, I sat alone in my living room, still wearing the stained dress. I picked up my phone and scrolled through my banking app, looking at years of transactions, tens of thousands of dollars flowing from my accounts to support my sister and niece. The credit card statements showed shopping sprees at high-end stores, spa days, restaurants, far nicer than Vanessa could afford on her own. Then I opened my social media and felt my blood go cold. Sophia had already posted about the incident. A blurry photo of me with the stained dress captioned, "When rich auntie needs to be taken down a peg, number sorry not sorry number. Cheap as Fearly looks." The post had dozens of likes already, including one from my sister. In that moment, something broke free inside me. The need for approval, the desperate desire for family love, the willingness to be used again and again, all of it fell away. In its place was a clarity I had never experienced before. I picked up my phone again and made 2 calls. The first was to my credit card company. The second was to my lawyer. Alone in my apartment, I finally peeled off the ruined dress. $3,000 of silk, and beading destroyed in seconds by deliberate cruelty. I hung it in my bathroom, a crimson-stained reminder of this turning point. The shower water ran hot as I scrubbed cranberry juice from my skin and hair. My mind raced through years of similar moments. Vanessa accidentally spilling wine on my graduation dress. Sophia forgetting to tell me about family gatherings. My mother dismissing every achievement with faint praise, followed by a change of subject to Vanessa's latest crisis. Why had I accepted this treatment for so long? The question echoed as I wrapped myself in a robe and sat on the edge of my bed, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed with text messages from friends checking in. "Kate, are you okay? Want me to come back over, Daniel?" That was inexcusable. "We are here for you, Jasmine. Just say the word, and I will help you cut those toxic people out." I appreciated their concern, but needed solitude to process what had happened and what I needed to do next. For the first time, I was seeing my family dynamic with perfect clarity. I had been the family ATM, the emotional support animal, the punching bag for their insecurities. Opening my laptop, I pulled up my financial records. The evidence was damning. In the past 5 years alone, I had given Vanessa over $78,000 in emergency assistance. The credit card I had added her to as an authorized user showed monthly charges at clothing stores, hair salons, restaurants, and hotels. Not necessities, but luxuries. The car I had purchased for Sophia 2 years ago cost $32,000. I had paid the insurance maintenance and even gas through a monthly stipend to Vanessa. The vehicle was registered in my name for insurance purposes, but Sophia treated it as her personal property, often posting photos of herself posed against it on social media, with captions like "my ride" and "perks of being me." Speaking of social media, I forced myself to look at Sophia's latest posts. In addition to the photo of me with the stained dress, She had posted several videos from the restaurant secretly recorded. One showed me opening Vanessa's cheap gift, zooming in on my face with a caption auntie pretending to like the dollar store candle while sitting in her 1,000 dress number, fake number, rich people problems. The comments from her friends were worse. Did she cry when you ruined her dress? Bet she has 10 more just like it. Rich people need to be taken down sometimes. My sister had liked and commented on several of these posts with laughing emojis. My phone rang, startling me. It was Kate again, concerned by my silence. I answered, voice steadier than I expected. I'm okay, I told her. Actually, I am better than okay. I think I finally see things clearly. What are you going to do? She asked. What I should have done years ago. Stop enabling them. After we hung up, I made a list of all the ways I had financially supported my sister and niece. The credit card was the most immediate issue. As the primary card holder, I had every right to remove Vanessa as an authorized user. The car was legally mine. The registration and insurance in my name. The monthly transfers to Vanessa's account could be stopped with a few clicks. For hours, I researched my options. I called my credit card company and explained the situation. They were surprisingly understanding, immediately canceling Vanessa's card and issuing me a new one with a different number. I arranged for the automatic transfers to stop. I contacted a towing company about retrieving my car from Sophia's possession. Each action brought both guilt and relief. The guilt was old, programming the voice in my head that said family obligations were sacred, regardless of how you were treated. The relief was new, a lightness that came with setting boundaries that should have been established long ago. Around 2 a.m, my phone exploded with notifications. Vanessa had tried to use the credit card for a late-night fast food run and found it declined. Her text messages escalated from confusion to anger. Card not working. Need you to call the bank. Hello, I am stranded at drive-thru. What the hell, Natalie? Answer your damn phone. Are you seriously doing this on your birthday? Real mature. I turned my phone to silent and went to bed. For the first time in years, I slept deeply without anxiety about my family's next crisis. Morning brought more messages, including several from my mother accusing me of being petty and vindictive. Your sister needs that card for emergencies, she wrote. Whatever happened at dinner is no reason to punish her financially. I did not respond to any of them. Instead, I called the towing company and arranged for them to pick up my car from the high school parking lot where Sophia would be leaving it while at dance practice. I provided the registration proof of insurance and explained that I was the legal owner reclaiming my property. We will have it at your building by noon, ma'am, the dispatcher assured me. I called my office and took a personal day. This confrontation would require my full attention. Then I contacted my financial advisor to review my complete financial picture without the drain of supporting my sister's family. The difference was stark. Without those expenses, my retirement timeline could move up by nearly 5 years. At exactly 7:50 a.m, my phone rang. It was Sophia, her voice high and panicked. My car is gone. Someone stole my car from the school parking lot. I took a deep breath. It is not your car, Sophia. It is mine. I bought it. I pay the insurance and my name is on the registration. I have arranged to have it returned to me. The silence lasted 3 seconds before the explosion. You cannot do that. How am I supposed to get to school to dance? This is illegal. It is perfectly legal. As I said, it is my car. Is this because of last night? Are you seriously this petty? It was just a joke. Humiliating me in public, destroying my dress, and posting mocking videos online is not a joke. Those are deliberate acts of cruelty. And yes, this is a consequence of your behavior, but it is also long overdue. The car was always mine, temporarily loaned to you. I am simply reclaiming my property. She began to cry the manipulative sobs I had heard many times before when she did not get her way. Please, Aunt Natalie, I need the car. I will die if I cannot get to dance. I will delete the posts. I am sorry. I am sorry too, I said, surprised to find I meant it. But my decision is final. I hung up as she was still pleading. Within minutes, Vanessa was calling. I let it go to voicemail, then listened to her rage-filled message accusing me of destroying her daughter's life over a little spilled drink. My mother called next, her voice tearful, as she begged me to reconsider to not punish Sophia for one mistake. One mistake. As if last night existed in isolation from years of similar behavior. As if I had not endured a lifetime of being treated as both cash machine and emotional punching bag. I texted them all the same message: I am available to talk in person at my apartment at 3 this afternoon. We have much to discuss about our future relationship. Then I began gathering evidence. Bank statements, credit card bills, car payments, insurance documents, screenshots of social media posts, everything laid out in clear, undeniable detail. By the time they arrived, I would be fully prepared to show them exactly what they were losing through their behavior. The towing company called at 11:30. "We have secured the vehicle. Ma'am, there was a young lady who attempted to prevent us from taking it, but we explained the situation and showed her the documentation you provided. The car will be delivered to your address within the hour." I thanked them, adding an extra tip for handling what must have been a difficult scene. Then I ordered lunch, ate calmly, and prepared myself for the confrontation to come. For the first time in my adult life, I was not afraid of my family's disapproval. Their power over me had been broken by one cranberry-soaked evening of clarity. The morning after my birthday, disaster unfolded with methodical precision. I woke early after a surprisingly restful sleep, made coffee, and reviewed my action plan. The clarity I felt was almost euphoric, like breaking the surface after years underwater. My first call was to the credit card company at exactly 8:01 a.m. when their customer service opened. "Good morning. This is Natalie Wells. I need to remove an authorized user from my account immediately." The representative was professional but curious. "May I ask the reason for the removal?" "The authorized user has misused the card for non-emergency personal expenses against our agreement." "I understand, Miss Wells. I can take care of that right away. You should know that any pending charges will still be processed, but no new charges can be made after we deactivate the card." "That is fine, and I would like a new card issued to me with a different number." "Of course, we will rush that to you. Is there anything else I can help with today?" "No, thank you. That takes care of everything." The entire call took less than 10 minutes. After years of paying Vanessa's excessive charges without complaint, it felt surreal how easily I could end the financial drain. One phone call and a major avenue of exploitation was closed. My second call was to my friend Thomas, who happened to be a lawyer specializing in property law. "Natalie, I heard about last night from Kate. Are you okay?" "I am getting there," I replied. "I need some quick legal advice about a car." I explained the situation. "The car purchased in my name used exclusively by Sophia with me paying all associated costs." "You are on solid legal ground," he assured me. "The vehicle is registered to you. You pay the insurance, and there is no documented gift transfer. You can reclaim it at any time, even if I previously told her she could use it through high school. Verbal agreements like that are hard to enforce, especially with a minor, and use is not the same as own. You have every right to take back your property." Relief washed over me. "Thank you, Thomas. I will be careful to document everything." My third call was to a reputable towing company. I explained that I needed my vehicle retrieved from the high school parking lot. "I will need to provide proof of ownership," I said, already preparing to email copies of the registration and insurance. "Yes, ma'am. We will need that documentation before we can proceed." I sent the files immediately, then scheduled the pickup for 7:30 a.m., knowing Sophia would be in early morning dance practice. "Please be discreet," I requested. "There may be some confusion about the ownership. We understand our drivers are trained to handle delicate situations." Next, I called my financial advisor. We had a standing quarterly meeting, but this could not wait. "Janet, I need to review my financial commitments. I am making some significant changes to my family support arrangements." Janet had long questioned my level of financial support to my sister, though she had always been professionally tactful about it. "I have time this afternoon if you would like to come in," she offered. "Perfect. I will see you at 1. The final preparation was emotional. I sat down with my journal and wrote out exactly what I wanted to say to my family. No accusations, no recriminations, just facts. The total amount spent, the ungrateful responses, the public humiliation, the clear path forward. By 9:30 a.m. and the first crisis call came through. Vanessa voiced shrill with panic. "Natalie, my card was declined at the gas station. There must be some mistake." I took a deep breath. "There is no mistake, Vanessa. I have removed you as an authorized user from my credit account." A stunned silence. "Then you did what?" "I closed your access to my credit card permanently because of last night." "Are you serious right now?" "It was just a stupid dinner. It was my birthday celebration. And your daughter deliberately humiliated me, destroyed a $3,000 dress, and then posted mocking videos online. You liked and commented on those posts. But this is not just about last night. This is about years of financial dependence that has created an unhealthy dynamic between us. So you are just cutting me off just like that. How am I supposed to pay for anything? The same way other adults do with your own money from your own job." Her tone shifted from outrage to pleading. "Natalie, please. I have bills due next week. Sophia needs new dance shoes. Mom needs her prescription filled." The familiar guilt tugged at me, but I held firm. "I'm sorry you are in this position, but it is not my responsibility to manage your finances anymore." You selfish, she hissed, reverting to anger when manipulation failed after everything I have done for you. What exactly have you done for me, Vanessa? Please enlighten me. When she had no answer, I continued. I am available to talk in person at my apartment at 3 this afternoon. We should discuss this face to face. I hung up as she was still sputtering threats and insults. The next call came at 7:55 a.m., right on schedule, Sophia's voice trembling with panic and fury. My car is gone. Someone stole it from the school lot. It is not your car, Sophia, I corrected calmly. It is my car. I bought it. I pay for the insurance and the registration is in my name. I have arranged to have it returned to me. Her shock was audible. You cannot do that. I need that car. You needed transportation, which I provided. You have now lost that privilege because of the dress. Are you serious? It was just a joke. Deliberately humiliating someone is not a joke. Posting videos mocking me online is not a joke. Those are cruel actions with real consequences. Her voice cracked as she shifted tactics. Please, Aunt Natalie, I am sorry. I will delete the posts. I need the car for school and dance. Please do not do this. I have made my decision. We can discuss this further when you come with your mother to my apartment at 3 today. My mother called next, her voice. That particular mixture of disappointment and manipulation she had perfected over decades. Natalie, what is this I hear about you taking Sophia's car and canceling your sister's credit card over a little spilled drink? That is a rather significant understatement of what happened, Mom. And yes, I have reclaimed my car and closed the credit account I was allowing Vanessa to use. This family helps each other, she said as if reciting scripture. We do not punish each other over small incidents. I agree that families should help each other, but help should be reciprocal and appreciated, not demanded and mocked. Sophia is just a child. She made a mistake. She is 17. Mom, old enough to understand cruelty, old enough to face consequences. She sighed heavily. What do you want? An apology? Fine. I am sure they will apologize if that is what it takes. What it takes for what? To get the money flowing again. That is exactly the problem. Any apology given under those circumstances would be meaningless. So you are just cutting them off. Your own family. I am setting boundaries that should have been set long ago. We can discuss this further when you all come to my apartment at 3. My meeting with Janet, my financial advisor, was reveille. She created a spreadsheet showing my financial support of my family over the past 5 years. The total comes to just over $16,000, she said, turning the screen toward me, not including the car. Seeing the number in black and white was shocking. And if I had invested that money instead, she ran the calculation. At a moderate growth rate, you would have an additional $122,000 in your portfolio today. And moving forward, if I stop all financial support, you could move your retirement timeline up by at least 4 years, or purchase that vacation property you have been considering, or both. The possibilities expanded before me. Freedom from financial obligation meant freedom to live my own life fully. By the time I returned to my apartment, the towing company had delivered my car to the building's garage. The attendant handed me the keys with a sympathetic smile. Young lady at the school was pretty upset, he commented. Kept saying it was her car. Family misunderstanding, I said simply. Thank you for handling it professionally. I spent the next hour preparing my apartment for the confrontation to come. I set out the financial documents on the dining table. I printed screenshots of Sophia's social media posts. I made coffee and set out water, but no snacks or other comforts. This was not a social visit. At precisely 2:55 p.m., my building's security called. Miss Wells, there are 3 people here to see you. A Vanessa, Sophia, and Patricia Wells. Please send them up, I replied, straightening my shoulders. The knock came moments later. 3 sharp raps that somehow conveyed fury. I opened the door to find exactly what I expected. Vanessa red-faced with anger. Sophia puffy-eyed from crying, but still defiant, and my mother wearing her martyred expression. Come in, I said calmly. We have a lot to discuss. They entered my apartment like invaders. Vanessa storming in first with barely contained rage. Sophia sulking behind her, and my mother bringing up the rear with an expression of sorrowful disappointment that had cowed me since childhood. Sit down, I said, gesturing to the dining table where I had arranged the documents. I am not sitting anywhere until you explain yourself, Vanessa snapped. How dare you strand my daughter at school? How dare you cancel my credit card without warning? I remained calm. The car is registered in my name. I pay the insurance. It is legally mine. You gave it to Sophia. I allowed her to use it. There is a significant difference. My mother stepped forward, adopting her peacemaker role. Natalie. Honey, I understand you are upset about what happened at your birthday dinner, but this response is extremely disproportionate. Is it? I asked, pulling out a chair for myself and sitting down. Please, all of you sit. I want to show you something. Reluctantly, they took seats around the table. Sophia immediately slumped in her chair, arms crossed defensively over her chest. These are my bank records for the past 5 years. I began sliding a folder toward them. They show every transfer made to Vanessa's account. The total is $47,632. Vanessa's eyes widened slightly, but she said nothing. These are the credit card statements for the account I allowed you to use for emergencies. I continued pushing another folder forward. The total charges come to $3,418. Items purchased include designer clothing, restaurant meals, concert tickets, and spa treatments. Not what most people would consider emergencies. My mother cleared her throat uncomfortably. Family helps family. Natalie, you have been blessed with financial success. I have worked extremely hard for my financial success. I corrected her. 60 to 70-hour weeks for years. Sacrificed relationships and personal time. Earned every promotion through excellence. I turned to the next document. This is the purchase agreement for the car Sophia has been using. $32,000 plus insurance and maintenance costs of approximately $4,000 annually, all paid by me. Sophia had the grace to look slightly ashamed, though she still would not meet my eyes. The total financial support I have provided over the past 5 years comes to $16,000, I concluded. Money freely given out of love and concern for your well-being. The room was silent as they absorbed this information. Vanessa looked stunned, as if seeing the total amount for the first time made her realize the extent of her dependence. And this, I said, placing my tablet on the table, is how my generosity has been repaid. I opened the screen to Sophia's social media page, showing the posts from the previous night, the photo of me with the stained dress, the videos secretly recorded during the dinner, the mocking captions and cruel comments. Sophia, would you care to explain why you thought it appropriate to humiliate me publicly? Then share that humiliation with hundreds of people online. She squirmed in her seat. It was just a joke. Everyone posts stuff like that. A joke is something everyone laughs at. Did you see me laughing when you threw your drink on me? Did you think I would find it amusing to have a $3,000 dress ruined? You can afford another one, she muttered. That is not the point. The point is respect, basic human decency, neither of which you demonstrated last night. I turned to Vanessa. And you liked these posts. You commented with laughing emojis. You encouraged this behavior. I did not think it was that serious, she defended weakly. And you, I said finally to my mother. When Sophia threw her drink on me, you took her side. You comforted her as if she was the victim. My mother looked genuinely confused. She was upset. She was upset because she had just deliberately humiliated me in public, and your first instinct was to comfort her, not to address her appalling behavior. I stood up and walked to the window, gathering my thoughts before turning back to face them. For years, I have supported you financially and emotionally. I have never asked for anything in return except basic appreciation and respect. Last night made it crystal clear that I cannot even expect that much from you. Vanessa seemed to finally grasp the severity of the situation. So you are just cutting us off completely. I am establishing boundaries that should have been in place long ago. The credit card is canceled. The financial support is over. The car is mine again. How am I supposed to get to dance? Sophia burst out. How am I supposed to get to school? The same way thousands of other teenagers do. Walk, take the bus, ask your friends for rides. This is not fair. Neither is being mocked and humiliated by someone I have generously supported for years. My mother tried a different approach. Natalie, I understand you feel hurt, but this feels like punishment, and families should not punish each other. This is not punishment. These are natural consequences. When you mistreat someone who has been supporting you, that support may end. The reality of their situation was beginning to sink in. Vanessa looked pale. The rent is due next week. I cannot make it without your help. I am sure you will figure something out. Perhaps a second job or a roommate, and Sophia's dance classes. Her college fund. The college fund still exists. It is in a trust that she can access when she enrolls in higher education. As for dance classes, that is something you will need to budget for yourself. Now Sophia's eyes widened. So you are not taking away the college money number that was always for your education, and it will remain for that purpose? But everything else, all the extra support is over. A heavy silence fell over the room. My family exchanged glances, seemingly at a loss for how to proceed. The dynamic had shifted so dramatically that their usual tactics, the guilt and manipulation, the anger and tears, were not working. I cannot believe you would do this to your own family, my mother finally said, falling back on emotional manipulation. After everything we have been through together? What exactly have we been through together, Mom? When have any of you supported me through a difficult time? When have you celebrated my successes without jealousy or resentment? When have you shown me 1/10 of the consideration have shown you? She had no answer. Vanessa, always quicker to adapt, changed tactics. Okay, we messed up. We are sorry. What do we need to do to fix this? This is not something you can fix with a hasty apology. This is about fundamentally broken patterns in our relationship. Patterns that have persisted for decades and will take significant time and effort to repair if they can be repaired at all. So, that is it. You are just done with us. Sophia's voice cracked, genuine fear breaking through her teenage bravado. I softened slightly. I am not done with you. I am done enabling destructive behavior. I am done being an ATM. I am done accepting disrespect and cruelty as my due. I walked back to the table and gathered the documents into a neat stack. I would like each of you to take some time to reflect on our relationship, on what you have contributed versus what you have taken, on how you have treated me, and whether that treatment reflects the love you claim to feel. For the first time, I saw uncertainty in my mother's eyes, perhaps even the beginning of genuine remorse. What happens now? She asked quietly. Now you go home and figure out how to live within your actual means. You create a budget that does not include my financial support. You consider whether having me in your lives is important enough to treat me with basic respect and decency. I walked to the door and opened it. A clear signal that the conversation was over. I love you all, I said, surprising myself with the truth of it despite everything. But I will no longer accept being loved conditionally or treated disrespectfully. They filed out silently, the gravity of the situation finally sinking in. As my mother passed last in line, she paused. I never meant to hurt you, she said softly. I know, but you did repeatedly. And now we all have to live with the consequences of that. The door closed behind them and I was alone in the quiet of my apartment. For the first time in my adult life, I felt truly free. The weight of obligation, of unrequited familial love had lifted. Whatever came next, I would face it on my own terms. 6 months passed, each day a small step toward a new normal. Spring gave way to summer, and summer faded into fall. My life transformed in ways both subtle and profound. The first month after our confrontation was the hardest. My phone buzzed constantly with messages alternating between anger pleading and guilt tripping. I responded factually and calmly to direct questions, but refused to engage with emotional manipulation. Eventually, the barrage slowed, then stopped entirely for 2 weeks. The silence was both painful and peaceful. Then came a text from Sophia that changed everything. I got a job at the mall. Saving for a car, not asking for money. Just wanted you to know. That simple message, free from demands or accusations, was the first tender shoot of something new growing from the scorched earth of our relationship. I replied simply, I am proud of you. That is not easy. Vanessa's transformation took longer. According to my mother, she cycled through rage, depression, and finally reluctant acceptance. 3 months after our confrontation, she found a better-paying job as an office manager and moved to a smaller apartment she could actually afford. When she finally reached out, her message was unexpected. Thank you for forcing me to stand on my own. I hate that it took this, but I needed the push. My mother was the most complex case. Decades of enabling Vanessa and dismissing me could not be undone quickly. We began with brief, carefully neutral phone calls once a week. She struggled to break old patterns, occasionally slipping into comments about how Vanessa and Sophia were suffering without my support. But I gently redirected these conversations every time. I am glad to hear about Vanessa's new job. I would say that must be a relief for everyone. Slowly, my mother began to see me clearly, perhaps for the first time. She asked questions about my work, my friends, my life, with genuine interest rather than cursory politeness. During one call, she surprised me with an observation. You sound different, Natalie. Happier. I am, I replied. Setting boundaries has been good for me. I can see that now, she said thoughtfully. I wish I had been better at seeing you before. It was not quite an apology, but it was a start. By the 6-month mark, we had progressed to monthly family dinners, not at expensive restaurants, but at my mother's house. Simple meals where we were relearning how to be together without the distortions of financial dependence. Sophia, now working part-time and focused on college applications, had matured remarkably. She was upset because she had just deliberately humiliated me in public, and your first instinct was to comfort her, not to address her appalling behavior. I stood up and walked to the window, gathering my thoughts before turning back to face them. For years, I have supported you financially and emotionally. I have never asked for anything in return except basic appreciation and respect. Last night made it crystal clear that I cannot even expect that much from you. Vanessa seemed to finally grasp the severity of the situation. So you are just cutting us off completely. I am establishing boundaries that should have been in place long ago. The credit card is canceled. The financial support is over. The car is mine again. How am I supposed to get to dance? Sophia burst out. How am I supposed to get to school? The same way thousands of other teenagers do. Walk, take the bus, ask your friends for rides. This is not fair. Neither is being mocked and humiliated by someone I have generously supported for years. My mother tried a different approach. Natalie, I understand you feel hurt, but this feels like punishment, and families should not punish each other. This is not punishment. These are natural consequences. When you mistreat someone who has been supporting you, that support may end. The reality of their situation was beginning to sink in. Vanessa looked pale. The rent is due next week. I cannot make it without your help. I am sure you will figure something out. Perhaps a second job or a roommate, and Sophia's dance classes. Her college fund. The college fund still exists. It is in a trust that she can access when she enrolls in higher education. As for dance classes, that is something you will need to budget for yourself. Now Sophia's eyes widened. So you are not taking away the college money number that was always for your education, and it will remain for that purpose? But everything else, all the extra support is over. A heavy silence fell over the room. My family exchanged glances, seemingly at a loss for how to proceed. The dynamic had shifted so dramatically that their usual tactics, the guilt and manipulation, the anger and tears, were not working. I cannot believe you would do this to your own family, my mother finally said, falling back on emotional manipulation. After everything we have been through together? What exactly have we been through together, Mom? When have any of you supported me through a difficult time? When have you celebrated my successes without jealousy or resentment? When have you shown me 1/10 of the consideration have shown you? She had no answer. Vanessa, always quicker to adapt, changed tactics. Okay, we messed up. We are sorry. What do we need to do to fix this? This is not something you can fix with a hasty apology. This is about fundamentally broken patterns in our relationship. Patterns that have persisted for decades and will take significant time and effort to repair if they can be repaired at all. So, that is it. You are just done with us. Sophia's voice cracked, genuine fear breaking through her teenage bravado. I softened slightly. I am not done with you. I am done enabling destructive behavior. I am done being an ATM. I am done accepting disrespect and cruelty as my due. I walked back to the table and gathered the documents into a neat stack. I would like each of you to take some time to reflect on our relationship, on what you have contributed versus what you have taken, on how you have treated me, and whether that treatment reflects the love you claim to feel. For the first time, I saw uncertainty in my mother's eyes, perhaps even the beginning of genuine remorse. What happens now? She asked quietly. Now you go home and figure out how to live within your actual means. You create a budget that does not include my financial support. You consider whether having me in your lives is important enough to treat me with basic respect and decency. I walked to the door and opened it. A clear signal that the conversation was over. I love you all, I said, surprising myself with the truth of it despite everything. But I will no longer accept being loved conditionally or treated disrespectfully. They filed out silently, the gravity of the situation finally sinking in. As my mother passed last in line, she paused. I never meant to hurt you, she said softly. I know, but you did repeatedly. And now we all have to live with the consequences of that. The door closed behind them and I was alone in the quiet of my apartment. For the first time in my adult life, I felt truly free. The weight of obligation, of unrequited familial love had lifted. Whatever came next, I would face it on my own terms. 6 months passed, each day a small step toward a new normal. Spring gave way to summer, and summer faded into fall. My life transformed in ways both subtle and profound. The first month after our confrontation was the hardest. My phone buzzed constantly with messages alternating between anger pleading and guilt tripping. I responded factually and calmly to direct questions, but refused to engage with emotional manipulation. Eventually, the barrage slowed, then stopped entirely for 2 weeks. The silence was both painful and peaceful. Then came a text from Sophia that changed everything. I got a job at the mall. Saving for a car, not asking for money. Just wanted you to know. That simple message, free from demands or accusations, was the first tender shoot of something new growing from the scorched earth of our relationship. I replied simply, I am proud of you. That is not easy. Vanessa's transformation took longer. According to my mother, she cycled through rage, depression, and finally reluctant acceptance. 3 months after our confrontation, she found a better-paying job as an office manager and moved to a smaller apartment she could actually afford. When she finally reached out, her message was unexpected. "Thank you for forcing me to stand on my own. I hate that it took this, but I needed the push." My mother was the most complex case. Decades of enabling Vanessa and dismissing me could not be undone quickly. We began with brief, carefully neutral phone calls once a week. She struggled to break old patterns, occasionally slipping into comments about how Vanessa and Sophia were suffering without my support. But I gently redirected these conversations every time. "I am glad to hear about Vanessa's new job. I would say that must be a relief for everyone." Slowly, my mother began to see me clearly, perhaps for the first time. She asked questions about my work, my friends, my life, with genuine interest rather than cursory politeness. During one call, she surprised me with an observation. "You sound different, Natalie. Happier." "I am," I replied. "Setting boundaries has been good for me. I can see that now," she said thoughtfully. I wish I had been better at seeing you before." It was not quite an apology, but it was a start. By the 6-month mark, we had progressed to monthly family dinners, not at expensive restaurants, but at my mother's house. Simple meals where we were relearning how to be together without the distortions of financial dependence. Sophia, now working part-time and focused on college applications, had matured remarkably,